These are the solutions to the Shawnee State Math 1010 Final Exam Review Problems, questions 13 through 29 odd. So the first thing we'd want to do here is use our distributor property and get 8x minus 8. Remember, there's a negative 1 there. So if I distribute that, I'd get negative 7x plus 7 equals negative 7. Now, combining like terms, I'd have x minus 1 equals negative 7. Add 1 to both sides, and x would be negative 6. Now, in this problem, what you're going to want to do, since you've got all these fractions, is eliminate your fractions. So I would take and multiply by, looking at all your denominators, 4, 8, and 6. The least common multiple for that would be 24. So I would multiply the entire equation by 24. So if I multiply everything by 24, I'm going to get 3/4 times 24 would be 18x. 1/8 times 24 would be 3. Negative 1/4 times 24 would be negative 6x. And then negative 1/6 times 24 would be negative 4. Now I want to get my variables on the same side. So I'm going to add a 6x. And then I want to get my constants to the opposite side, so I'll subtract 3 and get that 24x equals negative 7, and then divide by 24. So x is negative 7/24. For 17, the first thing I would do is do distributive property. I'd have negative 1/3 x plus 3 plus 1/4 x plus 1, that should be a 4, not a 6, equals x plus 5. Now I would multiply everything by 12 because your denominators are 3 and 4 so that I can eliminate my fractions. So that's going to give me negative 4x plus 36 plus 3x plus 12 equals 12x plus 60. Now, on the left-hand side, combining like terms, I get negative x plus 48 equals 12x plus 60. I'm going to add an x to both sides. And then I'm going to subtract 60. And when I do that, I get negative 12 equals 13x, and then divide by 13. And x would be negative 12/13. So I would begin by doing distributive property first. Okay, don't forget we've got to multiply 6 times 4. So that's going to give me minus 24x, and plus 24 is greater than or equal to 0. Combining like terms on the left-hand side gives me 6x plus 6. Subtract 6, divide by 6, and x is greater than or equal to negative 1. And now the directions do say I have to sketch that, so remember we do this on the number line. And if we are greater than or equal to negative 1, we go to negative 1, put a solid dot because it's an equal to, and we want to shade everything that's greater than that, which would be to the right, and then make sure we shade in our arrow. So using our distributive property, we get 1/4 x plus 1 is less than or equal to 5/8 x plus 25/8. Now, just like solving equations with fractions, I'm going to multiply by an 8 to eliminate my fractions. And when I do that, I'm going to get 2x plus 8 is less than or equal to 5x plus 25. Then I'm going to subtract 5x and move my variables to the left. Let's fix that a little bit. So it'll be negative 3x plus 8 is less than or equal to 25. Subtract 8. Negative 3x is less than or equal to 17. Divide by negative 3. Remember that in inequalities, when you divide by a negative, you have to switch your inequality sign, so be greater than or equal to negative 17/3. Now, just so that we have an idea of where that's at, we might change that to a mixed number, and that would be 5 2/3. So when I graph this, I want to go to 5 2/3, so a little bit past, or between -5 and -6, and it's greater than or equal to, so I'll shade everything to the right, and then shade my arrow on the end. Now we get to our word problems. Problem number 23 says that the sum of 1/2 a number, so that'd be 1/2 x, and 1/3 of a number, 1/3 x, and 1/12 of a number, 1/12 x, is equal to 55. And we're supposed to find x. So then what you're going to want to do is multiply everything by 12 to eliminate my fractions. When I do that, I get 6x plus 4x plus x equals 660. Now combining like terms, 6 plus 4 plus 1 would be 11x is equal to 660. Divide by 11, and x is 60. In problem 25, it says Josh and Sam have traveled in separate cars from their apartment to a ski resort 360 miles away. Sam wanted to get there early, so he traveled the maximum speed limit of 60 miles per hour. So looking at this, I already know we want to use our D equals R times T. Distance equals rate times time. Josh bought a new car, so he's going to travel at 40 miles per hour. If they both left at the same time, how much sooner did Sam get at this arrive at the ski resort before Josh? So let's look at Sam. We know that he went 360 miles. His rate was 60 miles per hour, and I need to find his time. Then we also have Josh, who traveled 360 miles also, but he was only traveling 40 miles per hour, and I need his time. So solving each of these equations, I get that for Sam, his time was 6 hours, and for Josh, his time was 9 hours. And the question was, how much faster, or how many hours quicker did Sam get there? So he got there 3 hours earlier than Josh did. In problem number 27, we're told that Gary has a budget of $1,960 to rent computers. The computer company that he wants to rent from charges a $250 installation and one-time service fee. They also charge $95 a month for the rental of the computer. So I want to know how many months can he rent his computer if he has this budget. So we know he has $1,960 total. And in that, he's got to pay $250 for the one-time fee plus $95 a month. Now I just need to solve for M. So if we subtract our $250, we get $1,710 equals 95M. Divide by 95. And we're going to get that M is 18. So he would be able to rent for 18 months. In our last problem, it's one of those where we have mixed percentages. Charlotte has $3,000 that she's going to invest at a 15% interest money market fund and at a 12%. At the end, she's going to have a total of $402 in interest. So I need to know how much does she invest in each one. So we know she has $3,000 total. So let's say she puts X at 15%, which means if she takes $3,000 minus X, which was what she spent at 15, that's how much she'll invest at 12%. Well, remember that our interest formula is principal times rate times time. This is for 1 year, so T will automatically be 1. And we know our interest. So $402, since this is combined interest, we'll want to do it as 402 equals principal times rate at the first one would be x times 0.15 plus then principal times rate for my second investment would be 3,000 minus x times 0.12. So then if I go ahead and multiply using distributive property, I get 0.15x plus 3,000 times 0.12 would be $360 minus 0.12x. Combining like terms on the right-hand side gives me 0.03x plus 360. Then subtract your 360. I get 42 equals 0.03x, and then divide by 0.03. And when I do that, I get $1,400. And now I can go back and figure out that she has put $1,400 at 15%, and the remaining $1,600, because remember, you have to have a total of $3,000. So the remaining $1,600 would be at 12%.